Hello everybody. Today, within our Mautic and SuiteCRM integration, we're going to make sure that we're not creating duplicates inside our SuiteCRM system. Okay, so let's go. So when you're building up systems that you're integrating, things are getting a bit more complex because there are a lot of logic rules, and additionally, you might have some specific requirements inside your business that might require additional logic rules. So here, for instance, let's say you have existing data in your CRM already because you have been in business for a while. Now you want to start working with Mautic. What happens if somebody via Mautic, newsletter, a web form, a webinar, whatever, registers with an email that exists already inside your SuiteCRM system? Very common case, and it can happen every single day. So therefore, we have to be a bit careful and we have to define the process. So let's just do one option of those possible processes. You could even go further and look into, do you have it as a contact? Do you have it as a target? Do you have it as a lead? Or do you just want to look into leads? What happens if you found an existing lead? Let's focus on leads and do this. What do we need? We need our CRM system. We need existing data inside the CRM system. We need our n8n workflow automation. I already copied this one here from my previous videos. So just check out my previous videos on SuiteCRM and n8n integration, because there we're doing exactly this one here. We're retrieving a token from the CRM system, and then we're doing some search for a lead or something. Then you need to have your Mautic instance, and very important, your Mautic needs to speak API. That is, you already have the API enabled. You have the credentials here already set up, and everything's fine and working. And additionally, you would want to maybe look into the documentation here. So let's give this a try. The first thing that I want to do is I want to have a trigger, and the trigger comes not from like a manual trigger, but it's a specific Mautic trigger, and here we've got on new Mautic events. Very well. I've already set up my basic authentication with Mautic. You can use OAuth as well, and here you have all those different webhooks that are available in Mautic, and I want to have something like contact identified event, because this will be like a new event. So, and then I need to copy this one here, the webhook. And now we're in testing mode, so I just copy the test. Later on in production, if you deploy it, you need to copy the production one. Okay, but so far so good. I want to connect this first. Maybe save this as well, and I would say here, create new lead or note in SuiteCRM from Mautic, because this is exactly what it should be doing. And then one more thing that we need to do is we need to go into our Mautic webhooks, and then if we have contact updated, and that just, let's make this one here the contact created, and this should go to my webhook, to exactly this one here. So I can send a test payload now and see what happens, and I should see this inside here my n8n, and well, you can see this is like a demo test payload and so on. So I just know that the integration works, but I don't need this as such. So, and then let's go ahead and maybe create a new lead here, and this would be the case where we really have a complete new data record. So first 04, last 04. And how do we identify a new record? By the email. So email is preferred. If you have this one, perfect, because one person can usually only have one email. If you have others, or if you don't have emails, and then maybe you can get the phone number or something. So you need to have like a unique identifier. So a search in the CRM system, and here this is really new. That's good. Then what I can do now here is I've got this so far connected. So I say execute step, and I get like a real case which is being created here. And now it would be possible to work on the data, because in the next steps we need to do this. We need to access the real data. So here we're getting the token from the CRM system, and the first thing that I want to do now is I want to search for the leads by the email. So for the email, in most cases, should not be a problem at all. There is email 1, email 2, and you can just search by email 1 if you usually have only one email per person. Emails are a little bit special. It's a sub-module underneath contacts, targets, leads, and therefore the email can't be a duplicate, but one email can be used multiple times in 2 different contacts, so you need to be a bit careful. And here, if you need to search for email specifically and then retrieve the related records, and then it makes more sense to search in a different way. But here for our case, for example, we just use leads, email. So, and now we've got the data which is coming over from Mautic, and I've got the email here, and I would just use the value to search on our CRM system for this one. So the request was successful, but there's no result. As you can see, data is still an array, but the array is empty. And exactly this case becomes our go-to check now, because we can add an if condition or logic here, and we would say if the data. And then we would say here the array, because yes, it is an array, is empty, and then we can create it, right? So if it's not empty, if our search found something, then we have to do something else. So this is basically the logic that you always have to employ if you're working on avoiding duplicates. So here we are in the true branch. Our search returned nothing. Our search result is empty. Therefore, we can do something. What do we want to do? Here, fairly simple. I want to create a lead. So I duplicate this one here. I would just connect the true branch and say something like create SuiteCRM lead from Mautic. Fairly simple. And here I would need to, instead of a get, now I know that I'm in a post method, and now I need to get rid of this one all because we don't need it anymore. Now this one, the bearer token, is a couple of hops back, and therefore we need to get the correct one here. That's this one, and we need to send a body. How does the body look like? We simply copy and paste it. Switch to expression here, simply copy and paste it from our documentation. So in the documentation, we've got a body for a post request here. For the post request, it's different from the patch request, because post, we don't need to have an ID. If you wanted to, for the false branch later on, if you wanted to update your lead, like last contact touch point, date, time or something, and then you would need to update it and use a patch method. But here, in our case, we just want to use the post one. We put this here. And since we didn't find it, and again, here you need to define your logic more precisely. Do you first want to search in contacts, then in leads, then in targets, or like how does your contact logic work? How does your duplicate avoiding logic work? Yeah, you would need to define this. So the interesting thing is now I don't have the data here, so it's a bit of a, so you need to know where you put the data. So for me, it's a bit easy because I've been working with this whole system already for a long time, so I can just remember some of the names here. If you don't have this, we do this in a bit, and I'll show you for a note how you can do this. So bear with me here. I would just put the last name here, and the last name is last04. I add the value, and I comma separate the next one, and the next one is first name, and I drop the variable value here, And the last thing that I want to have as well and fill is my special field email 1. And I want to call this, or want to place this within the email value. We've used this one already for the email already for searching for the lead. So that should basically be it already. So I can execute this step. The rest seems to be fine. The required option ID is missing because I used patch instead of post. And now if I do this and correctly, then it seems to be fine. So here we retrieve a response, and having a response is always a good sign. I search again. I find the lead that I just created. So that's good, because here in this case, we have now our newly created lead. That is if somebody registers who is not yet inside your CRM system for any action, event, touch point, newsletter, or whatever. So, but what do we do with those contacts that you already migrated to your CRM or that you already built up in your CRM system? Let's just use exactly the same name here. No, we can't do this, because the good thing is on Mautic you can't have duplicate records in terms of emails. So therefore I'm creating exactly the situation now where I already have a record here. And now we need to test it. And if we test this again, then this will find already something. But before we do this, I want to do once more thing, which is basically I want to go to leads, search again for first 04, and create for the one that we just did one node, because in this way, create node or attachment, and I would say test node. I don't need to do anything else. Node body, I can do this one here as well, because in this way we can simply retrieve this node here and see what the body needs to look like later on. Because in the case of like the false branch, which I want to connect now, I want to create or attach a node to a existing lead from Mautic. So this is exactly what I want to do, because I still want to be informed from Mautic that something has happened. And there have been so many different scenarios in projects which we've done here. In one scenario we had like a special request module. In another scenario we've created a task, or just like this one, a node for the updates. We've created duplicate leads, but then merge those duplicate leads into non-duplicate contacts. So you can have like all different sorts of approaches. It's important that you know the approach first, that you're aware of the issues with the duplicates, and then do this one here. So what I want to do is, first I want to get, and I want to get nodes, and then the node ID would be exactly this one here. And I copy this one into here. And for the node, I don't have to send a body anymore. So I can execute this, but probably it won't help because I'm still connected to the wrong if branch. So I need to reduce or remove this. Just skip it, and only for testing purposes have this one here, because then I see my structure here, and then it makes it easy for me, because if you don't know the values here and you want to create it, it's very complicated. So what we can do now is, actually this one is read, and then I just want to duplicate this, and this one is now the create node or an attach a node. And here I can, am I in the correct one? Sorry. So, and here I can now do a post, and this one goes to the module without a slash at the end. So I want to send a body, I want to use JSON, I want to use the whole JSON, and I want to have an expression in my JSON. And now, in order to fill this out, I would again copy the example body from here, but then get the specific details from the node that we just read. So here, as you can see, node, it's not plural. That's important. And then we still got name, so it's the standard name. Then we've got the parent ID, the parent type. Let's copy this actually. So I think that's mostly the important thing that we need. And now after copying this, we can already delete the one node before this one here, but let's just keep it there for cosmetics first node. Then I don't have to patch, so I copied the wrong body. I don't have to patch, I have to send a post request. So what I want to send now, there has been like, exactly like this, new request by lead submitted. So then I've got a node which informs me about this one. Then I need to have a parent type and parent ID. I basically can copy this one here. So indentation, just to be nice. Then I still have a description. So now again, it depends on what you're retrieving here from your Mautic. Maybe it's a registration for a webinar or whatever. Then you can adjust this accordingly. I don't need anything else, as it seems like. So now I need to, since we found something, no, can't really do this at the moment because we haven't found the lead yet. But I can already say like new request, and then maybe you have some variables from, let me add a variable here. For instance, I can add the first name, last name variable. Exactly. And we have to fill in this one here in a bit because we don't know this yet. That comes from our second execution. I remove this one. And now I can connect this one to the false branch because we're going to retry the whole thing. So first I have to execute this one here again in order to listen to my event. So what I want to transfer is exactly not this one, but I want to transfer the next one. First 05, last 05, exactly. And here, that is the ID, but we don't know this. So our n8n needs to find this out. The ID needs to be used by our Mautic. So, and here I would put the email inside. That's good. First 05. And now you have to make all sorts of decisions, like as well, if I send this now, should my name be updated from the lead or not? Again, in different projects, I've done this in a different way. Sometimes we have simply updated it. Sometimes we put it into the node now for humans to check the details. Sometimes we had a different set of fields like lead or portal, first name, and then the CRM system first name. So it really depends on how you handle the whole thing. Now I execute the rest again, just like before, but as you can see here, instead of an empty data array, we actually found something. That means if I click here on play or execute this one, we're in the false branch compared to before. And the interesting thing is now in the false branch, or like here in the next step after the false branch, we would be able to access, and I don't like the if, I do like this one here. Since we found exactly one record, I can now have my parent ID pointing to this ID that we found here. So, and then we've basically completed the node. So we've got the name of the node, we've got the description with a variable inside from Mautic, and then we've got the lead ID that we found executed. That seems to be fine already, but I believe it after I've seen it in the CRM system. So here on the lead 5, there is currently no node. I refresh this, new request by lead submitted. So awesome. That means even though we did not create a duplicate request, we still are aware that something happens, that something came in from this lead via Mautic. And this is very important if you want to trigger for something. So now instead of a node, you can work with anything. You can have like maybe a task or whatever which is coming in, or you can have a special communication module which is always coming in from Mautic, and then it's being sorted out from what it actually is, which category, and then you've got have your workflows inside your SuiteCRM system in order to trigger the next workflow depending on what should happen now. But as you can see, that worked nicely. This is the way how you can avoid duplicates in your CRM system and still work with data, still react, and still integrate Mautic reasonably inside your CRM system. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.